Hi, my name is Antonis and I'm an iconographer and a painter. Today I wanted to make this video on ψιμιθιές, the so-called ψιμιθιές, the highlights in the Cretan style of iconography, how to paint highlights in the Cretan style of iconography. I hope you are healthy and creative. I hope you are much time in your studio. And here, as you see, I've already painted my proplasmos, the base brownish color on the face, the base color that will accept the shadows, the γραψίματα, the facial features, and the lights later on. I have already painted this proplasmos, I have already painted my γραψίματα, and the first light. Then I have blended this pinkish first light that you see with my proplasmos, and now I'm ready to proceed with my second light, as you see here, in the form of ψιμιθιές. Now, ψιμιθιές are very characteristic in the Cretan style of iconography. They are very typical, and they add so much charm and beauty to the icons. They require some precision, almost Japanese painting precision, but they can be really, really charming and beautiful when they are achieved. Many students struggle with this method because it is hard, it requires a lot of practice, and it will take a lot of for me it took years to achieve let's say the level that I'm here, and I realized that the more I paint ψιμιθιές, the more far I am from those old masters. So as you see here, my palette, many people ask me about my palette, and it's pretty simple, I would say. My palette is titanium white, ivory black, cadmium red and yellow, cobalt blue, and yellow ochre, and iron oxide red. This is the color, the pigments that I've used on this icon. And now at this stage, my ψιμιθιές, my second light, let's say, consists of titanium white, some cadmium red, and a little bit of yellow ochre. The thing that is very important to know at this stage is that you have to find a brush that really does obey your hand, really does what you want it to do, and little by little start with to applying these brush strokes, these lines of light on the first light, as you see here. Really don't worry if they look awkward at this point. Just try to observe your reference, try to observe the highlights that the master iconographer has painted, and really try to understand why the master iconographer has placed these lines of light on the face, and what is their real purpose: to add volume and to highlight the face. Now at this stage, as you see, I will paint over my first layer of these lines with a more liquid, a more thin layer of the same color, just to make them a little bit softer, just to add some more volume. And as you see, this layer that I'm doing here is very thin, again very precise, and I want to make sure that this will smoothen things up. I will blend these first lines that I painted earlier before.
Hi, I'm Antonis, and I'm proud to present you my online course in iconography, Paint an Icon with me. This course will help you become a better iconographer, and it will help you be more confident when talking and presenting your artwork. It will make you understand in depth the studio practices of a professional iconographer like me, and you will get accustomed to what great iconography looks like. So learn in a simple and organized way everything you need about the materials, mediums, and techniques in order to make a beautiful icon. Paint with me the icon of Christ and learn how to paint better any icon you wish. I will see you at the studio.
As I said, it's very important to observe your reference photo. Try, of course, to use references that are painted by master iconographers. Go directly on painting, on using old icons as references. Don't use contemporary icons. And try to observe these lines, their character, try to guess how the master iconographer has painted them. So I'm doing this smoothing here, and of course the best way to learn iconography, many students ask me how to learn icon painting. The best way is of course by copying and studying these old icons and trying to guess their way of painting everything. Of course, a good teacher will help a lot on this journey in iconography. The good teacher that student trust can save time, can explain the materials much better, the theology of icon much better. And of course, I always advise my students to learn a little bit or a lot of naturalistic painting and drawing. As you know, on my video, I often upload videos about realistic painting or studying the old masters of Renaissance, and this is very important in my opinion for beginner iconographers as well, since iconography is in relation to realism. And the master iconographers really knew how to paint in a realistic way. They understood drawing, they understood realistic painting. Now at this stage on the face, you see me painting a third layer of highlights, a layer that is much stronger. It's almost plain titanium white. Sometimes I will break this titanium white with just a little bit of by adding a little bit of cadmium red, just a little bit. And with this color I will highlight furthermore the areas that need to be in light. I will not overdo it. I will try at this stage to not cover my previous layers, just a little bit to highlight. As I said, the brush here is very, very important. I will have a link below on some brushes that you can use for icon painting. And very carefully, in a very nice and careful way, try to add these highlights. Sometimes our hand does not obey what we see and what we want to transfer. That's okay, in my opinion. The most important thing is to really understand the psimities that the iconographer has painted and to understand the notion, the idea of the psimities, and then little by little the hand will obey and will paint them. I see many contemporary iconographers and students especially who just place their psimities without previously having understood their purpose and what they are all about. This results in a face that is painted in a bad way. The psimities don't function as truly to add volume and highlight the face, but they are just decorative and also a bad decoration. Another thing that you have to know here is that egg tempera is an amazing medium, is a medium that has a lot of smoothness and silkiness to it. But it also requires a lot of practice and experience. The more you experience on egg tempera, the better the results will be. You need to understand the medium. You need I would say, to feel the medium, not just understand it, but feel the medium. And this takes a lot of practice and time. So The more you understand it though, the better the results will be. So make sure that you stick to TEMPERA. Of course, you can paint. Many students ask me if they can use acrylics for iconography. Yes, we can use acrylics, but even in that case, we have to really understand the principles of acrylic painting, how to, let's say, thin an acrylic color and add some binder to it, etc., etc., and then also feel how acrylic pigments behave and paint accordingly. Now at this stage, as you see, I again add an in-between tone, a very thin layer of color to soften furthermore this highlight I did earlier, just a little bit, with a very thin glaze and my brush. Now also something very important for you to know is that you should never paint without really knowing what you are painting, what you are about to add on your face. As it's very important to know your palette, sometimes our palette becomes very chaotic after a point. I used to paint on a glass and mix colors on a glass or very small jars. After a point, the palette becomes very chaotic, so sometimes it can get confusing as to what color I have to use. But it's very important to really know what's on your palette and what color you are using to paint, and also what exactly you are doing on the face. You have to really understand. I say this because many students after a point just paint randomly. They just add color without really knowing what they are doing. So pretty much, as you see, the step on highlighting a face is finished, and now I will proceed with highlighting the eyes. Now, one of the most usual mistake for students iconographers is that when they highlighting the eye, they just place this grayish first light on the top of the eyelid. They stick this light on the top of the eyelid, and this is a very general mistake that they do. So little by little, try to be, and very carefully, try to highlight the eyes. I'm using 3, let's say, steps here. The first gray bluish highlight that you see, then I smoothen it out with my Proplasmos by adding a darker grayish color, very thinned down color, and then I will highlight this eye with the titanium, with pure titanium white, as you see here. So little by little this face comes to its completion. You can find the full video of how I painted this face on my Patreon page, where you can find some tutorials on iconography, on how to draw naturalistically and paint like the masters of Renaissance. It's a useful page there, and to thank so much all my Patreon supporters for the production of these videos. Their help is really amazing to me. So thank you, my patrons, for your support. Now here you see me painting the mouth. Some iconographers are afraid to place bright colors, but again, the reference photo that you use will guide you and will help you to copy the colors of the mouth that you see as much as you can. On the link below I have a link to my online course, and a student asked me yesterday if this course was just about painting the icon of Christ. I use an icon of Christ to paint icon, but the idea of the course is to teach my students iconography, not just to paint a specific icon of Christ, but to learn the principles from scratch, from how to paint, how to draw an icon, how to copy a master iconographer, and then how to all the steps for painting the clothes, the figure, the face, etc. It's the course is designed to teach iconography and not just how to paint a specific icon. So check that out if it might interest you. So this icon really comes to its completion, this video. I hope this was helpful to you. It's really nice for me to answering questions like the ones I did today, and there are so many other questions that many of you have, and I plan to answer as much as I can. Stay in your studio as much as possible. Don't have too much fun when painting like this. I mean, of course, painting is fun, but you have to be attentive. You have to be in an alarm mode, let's say, and that is not very fun, I would say. So thank you so much for staying with me in this video, and I will see you soon in another. Be healthy, be creative, and have a nice time. Bye.